the CEO of Kraft, we're going to have the owner of the Cubs, we're going to have the All-State boss, the executive chairman of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. We're going to have clips from the past. We're going to have my hair over the years. It has remained exactly in place. That's the great thing about this toupee. It stays exactly in place. And we're going to have surprises for you. It's really amazing, as are you. And that's why we're doing it, for you, to say thank you. You know, states are strapped, shoppers are tapped out, and with the holidays coming up, local governments are looking for ways to tap them for more cash. More states considering taxing internet sales. Peter Sepp of the National Taxpayers Union says that will be a big mistake. And Peter, your argument is once the genie's out of that bottle, the genie don't go back in, huh?
That's right, and that's what this has to be all about, because when you take a look at the way sales models have been evolving, you have click and mortar, large retail firms that have both stores and internet services. Well, the Supreme Court has ruled that if you have that kind of situation, then the store has what's called nexus in a state with a customer, even if they order online, and so those sales are already subject to tax. So you have to wonder if there's a diminishing pot of gold at the end of this rainbow for states to pursue. Why are they doing it? Probably there's some kind of other taxing power that they're hoping to parlay into if they get what's called the streamlined sales tax agreement.
The bottom line is the fear it's going to hurt the entire World Wide Web. I mean, there's so many transactions, you're right, that are taxed anyway, so you would be piling taxes on top of that. But leaving that aside, I generally wouldn't mind sales tax on, because this is speaking more nationally. What happens, though, when we add a tax on, they don't take another tax away. In other words, if you were to say in a lot of these states that we're going to start taxing internet purchases, and then you were to tell me, yeah, but we're going to cut the state income tax, or because they are looking at this at the federal level, too, but we're going to cut the top rates or all the rates by X amount, of, hopefully a lot. They don't do that. It's just a pile-on. That's what worries me.
That's right, and all for a few $1 billion in revenue, less than half a percentage point, according to one recent estimate.
Yeah, but Peter, that's another thing. They say it's going to be a lot of money, that it could be just huge. You don't buy it. You don't think those figures are there.
I think that figure is diminishing every year with the development of the internet and the way that more kinds of transactions are being taxed. This was a study co-authored by Bob Lightan of the Brookings Institution, and so they're saying that as we had click and mortar things evolving, and as we have other kinds of sales transactions taking place in cyberspace, the amount of money that states can get out of this is shrinking. So again, I think what they're going after here is the power to do something else. Maybe they're going to get their hands on cloud computing, for example, establish a tax policy there. That would be a real disaster.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, talk about tax to the heavens. That would literally be the case.
Yeah.
Peter, though, what I always look at here, and this I know is going to sound a little heinous, I think there's a huge underground economy. And I think there are a lot of people who don't pay anything, and they get away with it. And I always think, these thieving bastards, they've got to share the burden here. And the thing about these kind of taxes, I'm not a fan of them, but if it's a way to bring the underground economy out, or to force people who avoid income taxes or avoid through write-offs and the like, paying any taxes at all, at least at the point of purchase. They can't dodge this. But again, it goes back to your fear, and I think it's a legitimate one and an overriding one, that we just pile on. We don't replace.
Right, and if we want to get more taxes collected on these kinds of sales where they should be, well, folks owe use tax on many of these so-called remote sales. States have had successful programs in reminding people of those obligations and getting them to remit payment. We don't have to force businesses to do it at a time when they already have lots of tax compliance burdens. Something on the order of 7.6 billion hours, $100 billion for the personal and corporate income tax system at the federal level alone. That's huge. There was a recent study that said it could be as much as 17 cents on every dollar collected under this internet sales tax regime falling on small businesses with $1 million or less in receipts. That's a huge collection burden, even if they can purchase software to help comply with it.
All I know, and the history of the value-added tax and all these other things, once they start, they only go up. They only go up. I've never seen it reverse. Peter, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you again.
My pleasure. You bet.
All right, well, companies not hiring, a lot more are firing. The financial legend who's ready to fire back at any